Let us learn how to make this beautiful dartless cup corset. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be making this beautiful dartless cup corset with yoke. For this corset, it is very easy to make. I made use of bra cup. I didn't draft it from my basic bodice. I made use of a bra cup. You can use any bra cup of your choice. I used the push-up bra cup. So let's get right into the drafting. So first of all, I'm using a plain pattern paper, so I'll mark out my neckline measurements and half of my shoulder measurements. So for this corset draft, the front and the back is going to be the same, like almost the same. So just watch as I do it. Whatever I do is what you are going to repeat. So I've already marked out my neckline, my shoulder to my armhole, then my shoulder to half length and my blouse length. Notice I didn't mark my shoulder to my under bust, because most times when you mark your shoulder to your under bust, it becomes too low by the time you are done. So I always use my back up to mark my shoulder to under bust. Now on the middle, I marked out half an inch. That is going to be for the bust bridge. After that, I'm going to be placing my back up. If you want it to be slanted, sweetheart, however you want it, you can place it, but I just wanted mine to be straight. Now from my shoulder, I'm going to be taking my under bust measurement. Now this is going to just help to make sure that your bra cup is not too low. Sometimes when you make your corset without doing it this way, it makes your bra cup look so low, like it's almost going down lower than the half length region. So this is what I do. I insert my bra cup and mark from my shoulder to my under bust, like you're already having your bra cup there. Then whatever I have, I'm going to just mark it straight down to make sure that I have my accurate under bust measurements. So after that, I'm going to rule it out. So now I have my under bust measurements. So now I'm going to be drawing out the shape of my bra cup. You notice I'm using a push-up bra cup. You can use any bra cup of your choice. So I'm going to be drawing the shape of how I want that part to be. If you want yours to be straight, you can leave it that way. If you want yours to be slanted, curvy, however you want to place it. If you want to have a sweetheart neckline at the front, you can place it more slanted. So now I'm just going to just arrange it and draw it out. So I will draw out the shape of the bra cup. Then the other parts that we're having on top will automatically already have our yoke already. So now I'm going to be measuring from that part to my armhole line to get half of my armhole measurements to go in by my armhole curve. So I went in by half an inch. Then I will just mark out my bust measurements. Make sure that you include that half inch. It is part of your measurements. So I've divided my bust measurement in 4 and included my measurements. I'm not going to be taking anything from my under bust. For my half length, I'll do the same. Divide it into 4 and include the measurement. I'm adding my seam allowance. For my blouse length, the lower waistline is what I'll be using, or you can add 3 inches. Now I'm just going to be connecting these lines to my original, the armhole line to my original bust measurement to give it that curve. So you see, notice the under bust, I didn't add any measurement. I'm just coming down to the half length, and then I will connect it a curvy shape to my blouse length. If you want yours to be more curvy, you can go up by how you want it, but I used my waist region. Then I went up by 1.5. This is just to give it a slant curve at that part so that it is not too sharp by the side. So after that, I'm just going to cut it out. You can also draft this on fold, because we are going to place it again to cut the back. So notice for the neckline, I cut out the first 1 inch that I marked there, because I'm going to cut exactly the same thing on the other paper, because it's going to serve as my back. So when I'm done, before I'll be cutting out the other neckline, which is going to be my front. So now I'm just cutting it out on a separate piece of paper. So if you like, you can draft it on fold, and then by the end of the day, you just divide it in 2. So I've cut it out. Now this part is going to be my back. This other plain paper that we just cut out now is going to be my back. What I will do now is to mark from my neckline to where I want the back opening to be, how deep you want it to be. If you want the back to be very open, you can come as low as 10 inches, but I'm going to be using 8 because I don't want it to be too low at the back. Now from that 8 inches, I'll just connect it from that armhole line. So now I have my back yoke already, so I'll just connect it slanted. Just make sure that it's a bit slant. You can do it straight as well, however you want. Now this is going to be my back yoke. Now for the back, I'm going to be having an opening at the back, the part where I'll fix my eyelets. If you don't remove this it's going to, by the time you snatch it, it won't be snatched. You cannot be able to snatch anything. So I'm taking out 1.5. You can take out 2 inches, depends on how open you want it to be. So this whole part is going to be out. Now this is where my eyelet is going to lay on. So after that, I will just cut it out. This part is, we don't need this part anymore. This part is going to be off, so that when you lace your corset, you have something to snatch you together. If not, if you use it directly that way, your corset will just close and your dress will be free. So now this is my front part. I'm just going to cut off the yoke. This is now my front yoke. So automatically you have your front yoke. I'll cut out the neckline as well, that neckline. So this is my front yoke. I'm cutting out the neckline because my neckline of my front is 3 by 3. I'm using nets. So now I'll cut out the back up opening as well, because I'm going to be fixing our back up back into that place. So now this is what we have for the front, and for the back we also have our yoke. We have all our pieces complete. We have our front yoke and our back yoke and the front and back bodies. So now I'll proceed. The fabric I'm using, I've already ironed my interface on it. I'm using a crepe, skin color crepe fabric, because I want it to have an illusion. So I'm just going, I've already ironed my interface on it, and the one I'm using the red now for the lining, because on the skin color crepe I'm going to be adding a red net, because I want it to be like an illusion. So I want it to have the illusion of skin, but it's going to be crepe, so I'm going to be putting that red net over it. So for this red fabric is the lining, because I'm using the red to lining the fabric, since the fabric already has red on it, so I'm using red. So the back, for the back I'm not using the skin color crepe, I'm using the main fabric. So I've already ironed interfacing on it. Ironed my interfacing on the lining pieces and the main fabric piece. So now for this, I'm going to be drawing out the lines where I'm going to be putting my I'll be using my fabric to cut my straight strips of fabric to just run some pipe lines on it. So now this is what I'll be doing, but first of all go and run it on the fabric first of all before I place my net on it. So I've gone to do that on my sewing machine. I'll just make sure that I iron it to make sure that there's no rumples. It should be relaxed, because we're going to be placing our net on top of it now at this point. So I'll make sure, however you want yours to be, if you want yours to be more slanty, if you want yours to be more straight, however you want it to be, you can rule your lines according to it. So this is how I just wanted mine to be. So I'll just make sure to iron it, and so that everything will be relaxed by the time I want to put my net on top of it. Make sure you iron it very well. Iron it with your steam iron. My steam iron pipe is not good, so that's why I'm using water, a can of water for it. So now I'm first of all going to be placing a skin color net on top. It's not compulsory, but I just wanted to. So I've placed the skin color net on top. I've placed one layer of it. Then I'll cut it out like this. If you want yours not to have any color of net, if you do it this way, it's going to be looking like it's your skin, especially if you buy the one that is closer to the skin color on your body, like if you it's closer to your skin tone, sorry. So this is what I'll just do, but now I'm going to be placing the red net on top. We want it to look a bit red. So like this already, it's looking like its skin color. If the client wears it on their body, you might think that it's a skin color or a net of that some sort, but I wanted mine to be more red, so I'm going to be adding an extra layer of net on top. Now I'm satisfied with this layer of net that I have, this color that it gave to me. Now it's red. I want it to be red but still have a little bit of background skin effect. So this is what you can do. You can do this color blending for many types of, like, it depends on what you want. You can even mix two colors together and it will transform. Sometimes you can use a different color for the background of your main fabric and use a different color of net, and you will see the illusion that it will give to you. Sometimes it makes it look more beautiful. So after that, I'm just going to go to my sewing machine now and sew the net on it to keep it in place. So now I've gone to sew it and keep it in place, and I've trimmed out the excess. So now this is what we have. Make sure that you trim out the excess. Now I'm going to be joining my back now to my front. I'll just go to the sewing machine. I'll do the same thing for the lining as well, not just the fabric, because it's the same thing. Whatever you do on the lining, you repeat it on whatever you do on the fabric, you repeat it on the lining. Now for the lining is where we are going to be boning. We're not going to be boning the main fabric. So I'm going to for my bonings, the red linen boning is bigger than the plastic boning, because the plastic boning is going to be going under the red linen boning. So you see the way I placed it. So I'm just marking out the lines where I want to place my bones. You can add as much or as little bone as you want, but I just use 2 inches to just separate them. And make sure that the boning line doesn't get close to your allowance. Make sure that you give at least 1 inch away from your allowance, so that by the time you want to join it, it is not going to be too close that you cannot sew on it, or you are going to be sewing out your boning. So make sure that you give at least 1 inch or 1.5 inch away from your allowance. So this is what I'll just be sewing out my bonings, and by the time I'm done, I'll be placing my plastic boning under it. So at that top, make sure that you stitch it. You see the way I stitched that top, so that the boning doesn't come outside, doesn't pop out by the time you insert it on it. So this is how we are going to be inserting it in reverse. So the way you sew, you know that we sewed it facing the linen boning facing the main cloth, but for the boning we are going to be inserting it facing the counter side of it. So this is it. By the time we're done, we're still going to iron it to keep everything in place. So now this is it. Make sure that your boning doesn't get to the bottom. So for this now, I've marked away from my back seam. I went in by 1/2 inch, and in between here I'll be putting my eyelet. I marked 1/2 inch and inserted another boning, so that by the time you've added your eyelet, it's not going to, you'll be able to snatch it very well, and it's not going to rip off. So now this is it. I've gone ahead to iron everything. Now we're going to be facing the back up. For the back up, I'm using the same fabric that I used for the front, the same way, the same process that I added my net and everything. What I'll just do is I'll fold my back up. I'm just going to fold my back up to mark out what I'll be cutting out to make the covering for the back up. So now this is what I will just do. But the lining is also going to be red. I'm just going to fold it this way. The sharp point is going to be on this side, and then I'll be adding 1/2 inch. I'll be adding 1/2 inch all around, 1/2 inch or 0.75, because of my steel trim away from it. So 0.75. But for the center part, this center part right now, make sure that it is no more than 1/2 inch, because if you add more than 1/2 inch, it's going to point. It's going to point by the time, except you can measure it and sew it very, very well according to what you added. So now I'm going to cut it out, and to know the center part, because they're going to look familiar, I'm just going to notch it. I'm going to notch it, and then I'll place it again on another piece of fabric, and I'll cut it, because we are cutting 8 pieces. 4 is going to be for the 2 back up and 4 for the 2 lining. 2 to 1, 2 to 1. So 8 pieces each is what we are cutting. So now this is it. I'll cut the same thing for the lining, the same process and everything, but the lining we're not going to be having net on top. Now that I'm done cutting the lining on the net and the one that I'm going to use for the front, like I said, I'm going to be adding my net as well. So I've gone to join it on the same machine. Now notice I'm going to be joining on the part that we notched, because that is going to be the center of the back up. So make sure that it's not curvy. If it's too curvy, it will not be able to enter your back up very well. It will just be having gaps. So I've already done that. I'll do the same thing for all of them, and then I'll just iron. So I've come to my ironing table to iron the back up. Make sure that you have something to support it, so that it will get to all the points. So I'll just iron it very well, and then I'll be trimming out all the excess. So because if there's net on it, I'm going to be placing a fabric on it to iron in case, so that it doesn't get burnt, because the net can easily get burnt if the iron is hot. So this is what I will just do, and now I'm going to be trimming out the excess. I'll be trimming out the excess of it. Now this is what is going to be on our back up. Now I'm marking out the middle of my back up, because I want the middle of this cup that we've sewn now to be on the middle, so on the middle of the bra cup, so we don't accidentally push it to the side. So what I'll be using is my pin. I'll use my pins to hold everything in place. I'll drag out all the excesses, on the sides, on the middle, but make sure that that line and everything is aligning on the middle. The line of that we drew on the bra cup is aligning with this line that we've already sewn on this bra cup. So now I'm just going to draw out all the excess now and pin it down, because we'll go to the sewing machine and sew it in place, but we want to make sure that there's no gaping. So if you don't do it this way, by the time you are done sewing, you might have excess on your bra cup. So this is just to make sure that everything is smooth. So make sure that everything is smooth. You drag every excess. So I'm going to just pin it all around. So now this is what we have. So I've sewn it all around, and then I'm cutting out all the excess on these sides, then a little on the top, not very much. You leave a little on the top. Then now I'm going to be placing the lining of my bra cup as well, but the lining I'm going to be leaving a little bit of excess. I'm going to be leaving a little bit of excess. Now for the lining, when you are sewing it, you can make it a bit bigger than the bra cup, because it will help your bra cup to rest, your bra to rest on the bra cup, your breast to rest on the bra cup. So now I'm using my bra cup now to measure around the opening that we have on our corset. This is what I'm just going to sew around. Make sure that you are not dragging it. Make sure that you are just trying to arrange it so that it doesn't pack under as well, but make sure that you are not dragging it so it doesn't stretch too much. So now this is what I'm doing. I'm just sewing it all around. So now this is what we have. Just use your hand to make sure that it is not packing under. So after we are done sewing, this is what we'll be having, and then I'll just go and sew around the under of the part we've sewn. Notice that there are no gaping. So I'll just sew around it under to just keep it in place. You can choose to do this, you can also choose to skip it, but I just like it. It just gives it a little, it makes it look better, or it makes it look good. So I just like to do it, and it also keeps it in place for real. So now I'm going to repeat the same thing for the other, and this is what we have. Now after that, we are going to be inserting our yoke. So on the yoke, now you remember that we've already cut out the yoke from the main drafting. So our yoke is not going to be having a joining at the shoulder. So how are we going to achieve it? Just make sure that you iron your net on fold and place your front yoke and your back yoke. By the time you place your back yoke, you'll notice that the back of it is not going to be straight, because you are going to be overlapping it like you've already sewn it. I didn't know my camera didn't capture that part, but you are going to be overlapping it on the shoulders to make sure that it is like you've already sewn it. So that overlap is just going to help take out any excess. Make sure that it is not too much as well. If you overlap it too much, it will become short. So, and it's a net. I'm not going to be adding any excess on the net at all, because it's a bit stretchy, and what I'll be using to sew it is not going to be much. So this is what I'll just do. I'll just cut all around it now like this. Make sure that everything is in place. Then for the neckline as well. Now for the back where our hook and eye is going to be on, I'll be adding like half an inch, not on the neckline, on that back region where our hook and eye or our buttons is going to be on. I'll be adding half an inch, because I'm going to be sewing the hook and that place with a plain fabric to keep it thick, to make it thick before I add my hook and eye. I didn't know my camera didn't capture it, but that part is what I mean. So now this is my neckline. So this back region is what I'm talking about. I added at least half up to quarter of an inch. Now this straight net I'm ironing is what I'm going to use to turn that neckline in, because this is what I'll be doing, because I'm going to be tacking my hook and eye on it. So I've already done that. After doing that, I'm just going to sew my yoke on the corset cup, on the bra cup. Make sure that you sew exactly the way it is supposed to be when you drafted it out and cut out the bra cup and all of that. When you separated it, is the same way you are going to be joining it back. So I'll do the same thing for the other side. The other side will be a little bit difficult, so just make sure that you push in your bra cup to just help. If pushing in your bra cup will just help you make it a bit easier. And make sure that you look out for net, like any excess net. Sometimes when you are sewing, you might sew on top of the other net. Most times that is the case, especially when you are turning this main part with your lining. So make sure that you are careful at this point to avoid such mistakes. So now I've already sewn that part. Now I'm going to attach the back net as well to the other back of it. You notice the excess that we have there. That excess is the part where we are going to be having our hook and eye. You remember that we cut out 1.5 from the back, but we left the one at the top. So that is why we have an excess at the back of the net, and that place is what is going to be coming together for our hook and eye or buttons. So now I'm going to be sewing. I've already pinned my lining now to my main fabric. Then I'll go and sew it round. Make sure, like I said, make sure that you don't have any excess net packing under. If not, by the time you are done sewing, or first of all, by the time you are done sewing, you are going to open it up before cutting out any excess, because you need to cut out all the excess to make sure that everything relaxes. But when you are done sewing like this, make sure that you open it up first of all to look if there's any part that the net is packing, or any parts that you sewed on top of another net, so that you can loosen it and take it out first of all before coming back inside to trim out all the excess. That will really save you a lot, because I usually make that mistake most times. So unfortunately for this side, unfortunately I didn't make that mistake, so I couldn't show it on this one as well. If not, I would have shown it so that you see what I mean. But just be careful at this point. So I'm just going to sew it all around and then head to the ironing table. So all this part you are sewing, the excesses that you are going to have, you'll make sure to trim it out so that by the time you are done, everything will be relaxed. So you sew it all the way to this back as well, this back region. Just sew everything all the way down. After here, you will be heading to your ironing table. So I'm done sewing. So I've headed to my ironing table, and then I'm ironing. I put my bust arm under to iron the bra cup to make sure that it doesn't go flat. If you just iron it directly on your table, or it might just become flat. So that is going to act as a support. So as I'm ironing, I'm also adding my hemming gum under, because some parts the hemming gum wasn't enough, so I added it under as well to make sure that everything stays in place by the time I'm done ironing. So I'll just iron everything carefully. If the fabric you're using is a bit thick, it might not relax as much, but just try your best to make sure that you iron it carefully. You'll be pushing in your lining to just make sure that it is going inside, not your lining isn't popping out. So for the back as well, I'll just iron it to keep everything in place. On the sides of the eyelets as well, I'll iron it so that everything will lay flat. Iron your corset flat as well. Then now I'm going to be marking what I'll be using for my modesty coverage. Then whatever I have, I'm going to cut it on the plain lining, and then I'll sew it round. But first of all, before sewing it round, I'm going to be piping the under of my dress. So I've first of all run a stitch line through it to just keep the lining and the fabric in place before cutting a separate piece of fabric to use for my piping. So I'll just fold this part in as well before I'll turn it to the other side to just sew on it. So now I'll be turning it to the other side and folding it in as well. Make sure that your fabric, the strip fabric that you cut, is about 2 inch or 1.5. 2 inch would be preferable so that you can fold it in very well. So by the time I'm done sewing, I'll just go and run a line against the part where I sewed the boning for my eyelets. That is going to be serving as the eyelet opening for my fabric before I add my modesty coverage. So now I've gone ahead to sew the lines against the boning part where my eyelets are supposed to lay on. So you'll be seeing 2 lines there. So after that, I'm going to be sewing my modesty coverage on it. So guys, that is the all and all of this sewing tutorial. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please kindly like the video, kindly subscribe to the channel. We're putting out more tutorials. If you enjoyed the video, please kindly like, share, kindly comment on this video as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you on my next one.